Hey everyone, this is Elizabeth Sherman from Total Health by Elizabeth, and I am a health coach. And what I do is I help folks make their lives healthier by adopting healthier habits. And today I want to talk about this really juicy subject, which is self-sabotage, because it's something that we all do. It's something that is prevalent in so many of our lives. And so let me back up for just a second. So the one thing, the very most popular thing that folks come to me for is they call me up and they say, Elizabeth, I can't get consistent. And whatever words that means to them. But so often it comes across as, I just don't have motivation to work out and eat right. Or I don't have any discipline. Or I just can't get consistent. So those are the most common things that folks reach out to me about. And so, it really started me thinking about, what is it that binds all these things together? And what it really comes down to is sabotaging ourselves. So however you want to call it, it's our inability to get the results that we want. We know that in order to get the results that we want, whether it's a specific type of physique, or it could just be feeling better or having more energy, or reducing cravings, whatever it is, we know that in order to achieve that goal, we need to set out a certain number of behavior goals. So things that we do on a regular basis. And we know that where we are today is a result of those things that we are most consistent at, right? So if we're not doing those things consistently, what's going to happen is we're not going to get the results that we desire. And so, self-sabotage can show up in so many different ways. It's fascinating to me. And so self-sabotage happens when our subconscious mind is at odds with our conscious mind. So when we think that we want something, when we know that we want something, we desire to have better health. We desire to lose some weight. We desire to, run a marathon or have goals that are not where we are today. But our subconscious brain in the back of our head is casting doubt on us, and it's saying, you can't do that, or no, you really don't want to do that. And so what self-sabotage does, so what our subconscious brain does is it tries to keep us safe. And so what it does is it goes out and it actually gets what it is that it wants, regardless of what we think we want. Our subconscious brain is the one that is actually kind of holding the strings. So, some examples of self-sabotage are, let's see, you go to the gym and you're pulling out your clothes to, work out, and you realize that you left your shoes at home, or your socks, or your sports bra, or something like that. So you left part of your workout stuff at home. That happens to all of us. It's happened to all of us at least once. Forgetting to set an alarm so that you can wake up, so that you can go and work out before your day starts. So you oversleep. Okay, something that I'm sure that we've all done. All of the I don't feel like it. So when you have committed to yourself that you are going to work out first thing in the morning, and it's 6 o'clock and your alarm goes off and you're like, oh, I don't feel like it. And so you decide not to. Or you have this refrigerator full of really healthy, awesome food, and you decide, you know what, I don't feel like eating that. I'm going to go out for takeout instead. So these are just some examples of self-sabotage. Self-sabotage ultimately happens when we say we want something, but then go about doing the actual opposite of what we say that we want. And so that also translates to what I like to call resistance. And so resistance is whenever we are starting to notice that when we say that we want something, there's part of us that's kind of holding us back. And so, resistance is actually I don't want to say a red flag. It's more of an opportunity for us to get curious. And so a lot of people, when they see this resistance, so again, I forgot to set my alarm this morning, and gosh darn, I'm just such a jerk and I'm never going to be fit. So we use these, opportunities of self-sabotage to really judge ourselves. And instead, what I'm suggesting is maybe instead of, speaking poorly about ourselves in our brain, we start to get curious about why is it that we are doing these actions? Why is it that, I forgot my gym clothes? Or why is it that I decided that I really didn't want to eat what was in the refrigerator and instead go out? And, it's not enough to say, oh, well, that was just better, or I just felt like it. You really need to get honest with yourself and figure out if your goal is really important to you. And if you really want to make this happen, what you need to do is you really need to get honest with yourself and figure out what is it that I'm really after and why can't I go ahead and do that? So the first step in eliminating self-sabotage is get curious. So really think about what is it that I'm doing here? Why is it that I'm going off plan? And the second step then is to figure out why. So first of all, notice that you're doing these things to yourself. And the second thing is try to figure out why it is that why you're doing it. There's got to be some sort of benefit in it for you. And it's more than like, if, for example, if you're overeating, it's more than just, oh, this food tastes good. So you really need to get honest with yourself and get curious and ask the hard questions of why is it that I'm doing this? And then the third step is, how is not achieving my goal benefiting me? And that's a really, really tough question to ask. So, here I am, I want to get fit. How is it not being fit is going to benefit me in the long run? Because what our subconscious brain is doing is it's actually protecting ourselves. We don't think it is, because here we just want to get fit. But for some reason, the subconscious brain starts to see that as a threat. And it's trying to protect us. So the big question is, what is that I'm avoiding? How is that keeping me safe? So what benefit am I getting out of not achieving this goal? So, one really, really positive, or one common thread is that if I lose the weight, then I'm gonna be more attractive maybe to my partner or the opposite sex, and that can be a really scary thing. So that's just one example, and there are tens of thousands of reasons why you might not actually want to finish that goal. So again, number 3 is ask how not achieving the goal benefits you. And then number 4 is notice any limiting beliefs. And so when we talk about limiting beliefs, what we're talking about are stories. So when I talk about stories, they're scripts that we don't even really hear in our brain anymore, but they're things that we say to ourselves. And so one way to find out what your limiting beliefs are is to start noticing the words that you say. So for example, when I was in my 20s, I used to say things like, oh, Elizabeth and sweat don't go together in a sentence. And I thought I was being really cute. But what I was doing was I was telling myself that I am not a fit person. I am not someone who likes to exercise. Exercise is hard. And so, what are the stories? What are the scripts that go through our brain when we think about health? So like, I don't like vegetables. Is that something that you say? I can't get below 150 pounds, or I'm just the fat girl, or I don't have time, or I'm too busy, or I don't deserve it. It's in my genetics. I'm just built this way. These are all stories that we tell ourselves. And so, it's just fascinating to start to pay attention to those things. So when you start feeling resistance, start noticing why it is that you are resisting that thing, and start to notice the stories that you are telling yourself or that you have been telling yourself. So I am doing a webinar on this exact topic on October 16th. I'm going to put the link in the notes, and I'd love to have you there, because we're going to talk about this. We're going to make a deep dive into self-sabotage, and as well as some of these other things. So it's the 3 secrets that I've learned in my own journey. So I was not always like what you see right now. My journey started out as being over 185 pounds. I was a size 18, and it took me a good 10 years, even though I was still in health and fitness. So even though I was in health and fitness, I was overeating, I was over exercising, I was going through periods where I wouldn't exercise. I thought that having all this knowledge would all of a sudden make me get the body that I desired. But what I found out was that I still had limiting beliefs and views about myself that were really preventing me from getting in the way of my goal. So I'd love for you to join me in my webinar, because we're going to talk about all of this great stuff, and I really think that it's going to help you. So if you are someone who has either plateaued and you can't get to the next level, or you are just white knuckling your maintenance mode, and you are still food logging and using your tracker to make sure that you're moving enough, and all of those things that you feel like you need to control. So if you are in that sort of mindset right now, this webinar is going to help you out so much. I am so excited to be bringing you all of this information, because it's stuff that I've learned in my own journey, and also the stuff that I've worked with women on over the past 12 years. And I started thinking about, what is it that makes the difference between someone who is consistent and someone who's not consistent? So what are those things? And so I'm going to be revealing that in my my webinar. And again, I'd love for you to join me. Again, it's October 16th. That's next Tuesday at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 o'clock Pacific. And I would love for you to join me. So I hope that you've enjoyed this little session on self-sabotage. I know it's so juicy. And I will talk to you later. Bye, guys.